So we have a rectangle object, but now we have a problem. With our current implementation, we can set the width of this rectangle to -1. But it doesn't make sense because the width of a rectangle should always be a positive number. So this is how we create bugs in our programs. When our objects store bad data, we say they go in an invalid state. So the state of an object is the data stored in it. Now, if we store bad data in our objects, they go in a bad state and they won't be able to behave properly. So what can we do here? This is where the data hiding principle of object-oriented programming comes to the rescue. This principle says a class should hide its internal data from the outside code and provide functions for accessing the data. Again, a remote control is a real-world example of this principle because it hides its internals from us and provides a few buttons on the outside. With this design, the manufacturer can easily change the internals of a remote control in the next model, and we're not going to be affected in the slightest. They can use a faster or a cheaper board, but as long as they keep the buttons or the interface the same, we are not going to get affected. This is the idea behind the data hiding principle. But how can we hide an object's internal data? This is where we use access modifiers. So earlier we used the public keyword. This is one of the access modifiers in C++. We also have private and protected. In this section, we're going to talk about private, and we'll talk about protected later in the section called inheritance. So we made all these members public, but now we want to make these member variables that store data, we want to make them private. So we can add a private section here, and it doesn't necessarily have to be after public. We can also add it before public. We can also have multiple public and private sections, but that's not something that I recommend. So as a best practice, we should add the public members first so we can look at this class and quickly tell what functions it provides. What are the features or the buttons, okay? So we have the public section. Now let's move these two member variables down here, okay? But now we're back to square one. So if we try to compile this code, we get a compilation error because we cannot access the width attribute from outside of this class. I'm going to show you how to solve this problem in the next lesson.